Hi everybody, how are you? Let me make sure that I'm on. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Let me move this over just a tad. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Maybe a little this way. I'm terrible about that, you know. Okay. It's refreshing. There we go. Let's make sure that it works. Around here, what everybody's doing tonight is fair. We have a local fair, and it's the big Friday night at the fair. I probably haven't been to the fair in over a decade, though. I was trying to convince some of my friends to come there, like, no. But I think it would be fun. I didn't try to convince them today. I was talking about it last month. Some of our classmates that we do things with. Say hello if you're getting on. I can't wait to paint a couple pumpkins with you. Everyone makes fun of me that I say pumpkins instead of pumpkins. It does slip out when I'm teaching. So anybody else say pumpkins? Let me make sure the sound is working. Let me see. You're all jumping on. Yay. Hi, Pam. How are you? You're so nice. Hi, pretty lady. To you, too. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Paula. How are you guys? I hope everybody's doing great. I hope you're having a great week so far. I've been painting like crazy in between stuff. Hi, Mindy. How are you? What have you guys been up to this week? Did your weather, our weather broke today. It was in the 70s. I loved it so much. You know, I like when the weather's cooler, for sure. I can't believe, some of our members, when they were emailing me about some things, they were saying how it was like 120, 115. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Excited to see you paint pumpkins. Yay! I love pumpkins. I actually brought home some paintings from the studio to show you guys of pumpkins. Hi, Luann. How are you, my friend? Hi, Mary. How are you? Hi, Shirley. How are you? Wait until everybody jumps on. And you know what I forgot at the studio that I was going to bring is the Starry Night Pumpkins painting you guys said you hadn't seen. Hey, Eve. How are you? I hope you're having a great day also. I guess I need to finish my red truck before I start pumpkins, right? But you're ahead of Christmas. Hi, Dina. How are you? It's still 110 in Texas. Oh, my gosh. Pam, I would never go outside. It's so hot. Hi, Denise. How are you? I hope everybody's having a great day. Yeah, I have to tell you, my back was killing me yesterday, and I was like, what is going on? Hi, Lori from Colorado. What's the weather like there? And David Johns, there's my friend David Johns. How are you? And it was like cool. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so nice. We're about 40. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Hi, Susan. How are you? I've missed talking to you lately. Hi, Lori. But I couldn't believe how cool it was. So that explains there was a big adjustment in the temperature. But I like fall weather. I really do. I don't like how the barometric pressure changes so much. David, did you know that the fair is going on right now? You and I could go. You might drag my husband. I didn't skip you. I said hello to you. I did. You must have missed it. Texas needs your weather in the 70s. Yes, David. There's a delay in me seeing things and you guys seeing things. Colorado was over 100. It was 100 today. I didn't know it was that hot there. My family travels there, though. My dad and my brother, they love Colorado. I've never been there. They all have went there. Vicki, hi. Vicki from Georgia's probably hot there, too, right? I'm going to show you, David. No one would go to the fair, right, David? My son's there right now. So I grabbed paintings on my way out the door from the studio, so I'm going to show you. I have a big hot mess in here, because as you've probably seen, I've been painting a lot. There's been a lot of admin stuff, and I don't know if you saw. Hi, Betty. How are you? She's from Montana. What's the weather like there? I'm curious. I would love to be in Montana to paint. Oh, my goodness. The inspiration would be, like, amazing. But as you can see, I put pumpkins in a lot of paintings. I have dozens of paintings with pumpkins, and so I love to paint pumpkins. So this is our workshop on Tuesday. This is our Stolen Halloween workshop. So we do this on Tuesday and Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. We have, gosh, I think in the group there's over 300 people painting with us. I don't know why. It shows like 100 and some. I was like, one day I counted, I'm like, no, there's like 300 some. It's so weird. But I'm excited. We have an amazing group of people painting in there. Also kind. We finally have a bit cooler weather, West Coast Canada, but lots of fires in the interior. I had heard about that, Eve. I'm so sorry to hear that. How scary. I remember with all the smoke even a month or so ago, and then it passed through here too. My daughter, she's in New York, not too far from Canada. There was so much smoke there. That's just so scary. Hi, Susan. How are you? Oh, you're so nice. Thank you. You're so nice. I always feel like I told a record today, so you guys make me feel better. Okay, so I brought like a bunch of paintings. I just grabbed a bunch, just to inspire you guys with pumpkins. Even like I grabbed this on the way out the door. It has one pumpkin in it, but just to show you I love fall paintings. This was one of my favorite paintings last fall. I loved it. I think we did this as a workshop. I can't remember, but there's pumpkin in there. I even throw like little tiny pumpkins into things. This came out beautifully. Every single person's in the studio, online, this welcome fall. Show you that up close, but there's pumpkins in there. So I have on my list, and I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm gonna do an old milk can with sunflowers and like pumpkins on a stick in there. So you'll have that probably by the end of the week. And so I'm excited for that. This one I did maybe 2 years ago. And so I love this. They came out beautifully as well. And the background's a chunky paint. We use palette knives on them, like so cool. So you could do, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Dana. Thank you so much. This one was a fun one that doesn't, oh, thanks, Susan. Doesn't take too long. This blessed pumpkins, or blessed pumpkin. And so this wreath, I had taught this in our membership, like how to make a quick and easy wreath. And then I made this wreath before or after that, I can't remember, last year. And so this painting looks beautiful. It's just small. It's on a 12 by 12. But that's also a fun one. You'd be shocked how quickly and easy a wreath comes together if you haven't painted one before. So I grabbed that. This one's an oldie but goodie. I made this probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't know how many classes we did with this. It was a ton. It's on a wood palette, and it's just two pumpkins. Not a lot of technique in this. Like, they're real simple, and then we had a stencil, welcome your home. What I liked the most, believe it or not, wasn't the pumpkins. It was the little pieces of wheat on the bottom. It goes with the grain of the wood. Ah, thanks so much, Luann. I appreciate it. So this goes with the grain of the wood. So this is on a 3-slat piece of wood that we stain a walnut color, and then this takes like not even an hour to do all together. So it was a quick class, but we did a ton of them. And so last year we did this one on a palette. So we paint these. We painted these on. This has 4 slats on this. This is a 12 by 24. And so we did this last year. And so we always have these weeded and stenciled, ready to go to sponge on, so you don't have to fuss with this too much. And we paint the board like twice on the front and sides with indoor-outdoor paint. Now, if somebody's going to keep this like in a closed-in, thank you so much, Susan. If you're going to keep it closed in, like we're somewhere where there's weather or it's damp or something like that, we have the Krylon spray that keeps it from getting discolored and also seals it in the studio. So we spray them down in there too, kind of like we do with the wood signs also. So I'll put this off to the side. I have a couple more like pumpkins here. I couldn't bring them all. Like there's somewhere like up real high on the walls, and but out of all these, I was like, this fall painting, you'll have to do this if you're in the membership. Like this is so much fun. I remember I sketched this out like late at night. I posted it on the page, and then I painted it like, I think it was in the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep one night, and I was like, oh, it's such easy strokes in here. Do you charge more for wood palette paintings? We do. So yeah, because the wood palettes are a little bit more expensive than the canvas, so we do charge more. So the 3 boards, the one that you saw with the 2 pumpkins, we generally charge $42. The 4 boards we charge $45 in the classes. Our canvases like this in class, they go for $37, sometimes $38. If there's a stencil on there, definitely $38. Sometimes it's extensive stencil and it's like, bigger, or if there's a lot of prep work in something that we're doing, or like the seashell, like with all the texture and stuff, those could be $42 to $44 as well. Like we have the wood palette seashell and starfish painting. It has a ton of supplies in there. I think that's $45, and that's only 3 3 boards. It's a 10 by 20, but the supplies are expensive with all the starfish and everything. Let's see what else we have over here. This just shows you how I put pumpkins and everything. This has a pumpkin on a trick-or-treat bag. So we have that. Okay. I have another idea of something to do with that cute ghost, because he's real easy. You're welcome. He's real easy. Oh, you love the barn and the red truck with the sunset. I would love to do that one. That one's in our vault too. And it's in the single tutorial store as well on our site. Here's our site right here. If you've never been on there, and members, it's in the vault. So you want to look for it in there. We have a lookbook that has everything separated by season. And so a master supply list in the lookbook where has everything in it, like of our whole vault, because there's so much. Oh my gosh. But this one you guys saw I did the other day. I called her Halloween kitten. So she was cute. Got my pumpkin kit in the mail today. Yay! Let me know if you need anything. Listen, someone wrote me there was a typo on the supplies list. So it says fluorescent yellow and it says lemon yellow. It's supposed to say fluorescent lemon yellow. Someone thought they were missing a color, which everyone's going to think that. So I'm going to send an email out. So I didn't catch that. So I'm sorry about that. And then this is one I filmed that I created a few weeks ago, and I filmed 2 days ago, I think. And so, as you can tell, I love pumpkins. Oh, you love the kitten. Thank you so much, Pat. If you do you pay extra for tutorials? No, you have everything included, Dana. You get the whole vault. Believe it or not, with the technique tutorials and the vault of painting, there's hundreds of paintings in there, and there's technique tutorials in there as well. I looked in Searchies where we house all of our videos. There's 900 and some videos. There's a success path in there for business owners as well. But you get everything in the HQ membership, and you can try the first month for $29. But if you wait until Tuesday, we have a special at the end of we have a special surprise at the end of our Stolen Halloween workshop if you're in that. Oh, yay. So let me know if you have any questions at all. You can email us. Here's our email address if you have any questions at all, and I can answer them for you. You guys saw this that I did with the crackle paste, and just trying to inspire you with some pumpkins. See how many different ways? I love the crackle paste on the background. You can do this with molding paste too. I might do a workshop on this one. I really enjoyed painting that also. And then I have a couple things like, let's see if I can put these all back. But when you grab too many off the walls in the studio, it's such a pain to put back, but I grabbed some. This I just painted today, so you're gonna see like a whole slew of paintings. So in this studio, not online, we have Kids Club, and we also always give like a Family Day / Kids Club painting to our HQ membership every month. Our HQ membership gets about 7 new paintings every single month. And but in the studio, I also have homeschooling groups. I have schools that we teach regularly for their art classes. We have the after school program. We have regular classes. We have family day classes. So you'll see a lot of things that coming up. I paint new all the time that I'm going to do a lot that children can do. Or we also have special needs groups, and we work with all the IUs from all the surrounding schools. So you're going to see a lot of simpler paintings as well coming out this week. This is one I painted today, and I thought it was cute. And the wood goes in like 5 minutes. You know, wait till you see the technique to create wood, or the moon too. Building up the moon, I love that. Hi, Connie Zach. You're so nice, Susan. Thank you so much. The barn and red truck was my second painting with you last year. I just hung up my hallway. Yay! That's awesome. I'm so glad you like that. You hung it up. This one made me smile. I didn't have a candy corn painting. And I told my husband, I'm like, I'm going to paint candy corn with a witch's hat, little legs, little bird. So he looked at me like I was crazy. And then he said it was really cute. So, but it made me smile. I thought that was a cute one too. But you're going to see a lot of easier ones come out like that too, because of all the things we do. And so our HQ membership will have all of that as well. So everything that you see that I put, there's only 2 paintings that the HQ membership doesn't have, and it's from way back in the beginning. This is one that I'm filming. I meant to film today, but I ran out of time. And this is one that has pumpkins too. See, there's pumpkins down at the bottom. I loved painting this as well, and this was a lot of fun. So here's a stencil for it. I probably rubbed a lot of the chalk off because I've been moving it around my office. Going to take the time to paint it here soon. So for that candy corn is so cheerful. Thanks so much, Susan. It did make me smile. I thought it was so cute. You know, a long time ago, I had a hard time making things that were, I'd want to put a lot of stuff in there. Like I want to put it in the whole scene. So I put too many things for younger people, and I'm learning over the years to keep it simple as you can, especially so they don't struggle or they don't get stressed, and especially when we're working with our special needs groups, or you know, we want to make sure that we instill confidence and that they're not struggling with anything. So I've learned, you know, to keep it a little bit contained, you know, most of the time. Because sometimes I go crazy. I don't know if you ever saw the story a couple years ago whenever I told Lindsay, I'm like, I'm going to paint a turkey for a kids class for Thanksgiving. And in half an hour, I had this full-blown gobbler. Like, my dad has the painting. He loves it. But sometimes I go crazy, you know. It happens sometimes. Okay, it has a sheepish smile. I know, look. Like, I don't know. It makes me smile. And we just got contracted down in Pittsburgh and Beaver to go with other special needs groups with the day program and another program. So I think that's going to be one that I take down there. I think it'll make them happy too. Oh, thanks so much, Dana. I appreciate it. Why did I just find you? And are you a business member as well, or do you paint at home? Half our membership is business, half of our membership is paint at home painters, and so we have both, and we love every single person in there. Like, we wait till you see Dana. Like, we have the best group. Our ladies can attest to that, and we have a few gentlemen. And we have so much fun all the time, and everybody is so kind. I get to paint with them every single week. The candy corn, too funny. But I have so many ideas. In the fall, I'm crazy, like, inspired. Crazy inspired. As you know, most likely you'll see almost a painting a day for a while, and as long as I can keep fitting it in. So I love it so much. On Tuesday, if you haven't joined us for this is on, if you go to our homepage, kckhq.com, you can join this for $10. I put the beginners boot camp in this as well. So you'll have, they're all very cute. Thanks so much, Eve, I appreciate it. Hi, Lynn, how are you? So glad you can make it. And so, just like I say, I put the beginners boot camp in this as well. So in this group, after you join this workshop, you go into the private group, you join this, and it'll show you which one. It's called KCK Stolen Halloween Workshop. It's another long name. And Beginners Boot Camp's in there for you too. That's a 2-day workshop that I did last year, and people learned a lot from it. So make sure you look at that. And if you can't make it live on Tuesday and Wednesday, if you can, come in live, because we do the prize wheel and prizes the whole time. We have so much fun. But if you can't, you'll be able to paint to the links anytime. The group will just remain open, okay? But that's Tuesday and Wednesday. And then after that, we have our Starry Night. I don't even know. Here it is. We have this Starry Night workshop in September. So that's on our homepage also. Let me take this off so you can see it, because I like the cauldron the best. I'm always holding this wrong. And so this is going to be fun as well. I'm trying to think of what bonuses I want to put in this group. And these kits come with, we have a kit or a virtual option, but the kits come with the stencil, the witch stencil, like a Cricut stencil. So that'll be nice, you know. So I'll put that there. But that's our next workshop. Stolen Halloween. Yes, Susan. I'll put the link to the group. So if you've joined the workshop and you haven't went to the group yet, go to this group, okay, for a workshop. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there too. And let me put one more link in while I'm at it. Hold on one second. I have to go back. Visit site. I'm going to put a link for the workshop in case you need it. I'm really excited about us. We have like such great workshops because everybody's so much fun always. And the paintings, did you guys see the red truck paintings from last month's workshop? Oh my goodness. They were gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay, let me put this in here. I'm a little blind. I'm like in that in-between stage, you know? Okay, there we go. There's the workshop. Okay, let me know. Is that Mary Beth? I'm trying to remember, like, I know that you were in with your grandson for camp, and I'm trying to think if that was you. That's your first name. I'm thinking it is. I don't know. I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I want to make sure I get it right. Okay, let me grab. Did I not grab any black canvases? I thought I did. Did I? I'm not sure where I put them. Oh, here they are. There's so many things everywhere. So I'm going to show you how to draw pumpkins first. You're welcome, Susan. Thank you. So I have my chalk pencil here. Okay. I'm going to show you the brand of chalk pencils, if I have them here, that I love, because we have drawn a million canvases over time for classes and stuff. And I sketch with these on the black canvases. They take a little while to get in from Amazon. This is where I do get them, but I love them. Here's the back, and they must come from overseas because they take a while to come in. I've went through a million different chalk pencils. This is nice and soft on the tip, easy to draw with, and so they're our favorites. So yeah, hi Pat, how are you? Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed them. Yay, Mary Beth. So I was right, or did I say Mary Beth? Did I say Mary Beth right? Not Marianne. I said Mary Beth, I think. So I think I remembered right. I loved having your grandson in. He is so sweet, and you can tell he loves art so much. And so he was so much fun to have in. He did a great job. Okay, so I'm going to go to my easel, and I'll be looking back at the comments. If I miss something, you can feel free to repeat it, because it only shows me the last 5 for some reason when I'm live, and then I can see them all afterwards. So feel free to repeat it. I put like a whole bunch of different colors on my plate, of course, because I was rushing like right beforehand. And so we could do, you know, several different colors. I won't do them too big. Can I just buy the witch cutouts? Sure thing, Luann. We did, by the way, for the Starry Night, workshop with the witches, our members asked to just have the drawn canvas. Did I bring that in here? I'm like, I have so much sitting here. So we have the witch stencils like this, where we needed them. Is it the wrong way? And I actually did double the amount that you needed, and you cut them out and use them basically as a sticker, and you sponge it, you know, and then you peel it back off, and that way you don't have to hand paint the witches like I did, and then they'll come out perfect. And that's totally fine, Luann. Just remind me in the studio to do that for you. But online now you can buy just the drawn canvas instead of the whole kit, and it'll come with the witches too. So we have that as an option because you guys asked for it. So we have that now, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna go to my easel. All right, just let me know. I have to adjust, wait, I don't wanna make you ill while I do this. I have to adjust it because I need to have this out of the way. So let me adjust this. And I'll pull this in just a little bit. So for those of you that don't know me, the reason why I paint on my easel instead of straight down, I have very extensive spinal cord injury from here down to my belly button, and I can't stoop over at all. So if I stoop over, I have a disc that jams into it, and it's really ugly. So I'm always like straight on to my easel, okay? So I'm going to get my flat brush, and oh, one more thing. Yesterday, if you didn't see, we had our meeting. We set this a couple months ago to meet with a brush manufacturer, and so we're having our own brushes made. They had, you would not believe that I've never seen anything like this in my life, like tens of thousands of like handles and bristles and all the different types of brushes. And so we've narrowed things down on the handles. We're working on the artwork. Bring a bit higher. I definitely will. And hi Lisa, how are you? Hi Candy, how are you? And so I'm working with the brushes all week to see what I like, if I need them just a little bit stiffer for some of the brushes. And so that's really exciting. So once I make decisions on that and they put them together and then I test them again, then we're 60 to 90 days out. and from having our own line of brushes, and then we'll have a brush pack. We have a brush pack right now, but it's not our own brushes. I just try to find the best price for comparable brushes that I have. And so this is going to be fantastic, and the price is fantastic. Hi Virginia, how are you? So I just want to let you know that because it's coming, and it's something we've always wanted, and we're so excited about it. Okay, I'm going back. All right, let's see. I think we're good here. I'm going to bring this, we're going to bring this other leg around. All right, and we're going to paint a couple different color pumpkins, all right? But I'm going to show you how to draw them first. And you know what I just realized? You know I have this fan in here so my husband doesn't have me like cool down the whole house. I didn't know that he always said it was an ice box when I would have the air on the whole house. So, but anyways, I didn't realize it was on. So that's why I was yelling over everything. I'm used to noise all the time. Thank you so much, Sandy. We are so excited, so excited. So I'm using my chalk pencil, so I have that, and I have eraser. But the nice thing about chalk is you can literally just like rub it off or put a little bit of water in your paint towel. That's the other thing. I can't paint without a paint towel. We buy these by the 1,000 just because we ship kits and we have classes all the time. We wash them all the time. You can use them for the longest period of time. These are just like those oil rags. And and then we also have hospitals that donate the brand new ones to us that when they don't use them, if they're exposed to the air in the ER, they have to get rid of them. So they bring those to us too, and they're blue, but you can really reuse them, you know, all the time. So I'm going to start with my shape. You can make them long, you can make them short and stumpy, you know, so I'm going to make it just like a little lot, like maybe a little wide, you know, here. We can make a tall one after this, you know, have your bottom. So what I do once I get my shape, you know, and we can do like a tall one over here with a different color if you would like. All right, I just lightly like sketch it in, and then I'll firm it up afterwards, okay? So what I do first is I take my line and generally start down the middle. And this reminds me of how we do, super excited about your own new brushes. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Would sewing chalk pencil work? Yes, Susan, that would work well. And thank you so much, Lisa. We are excited for sure. So like, you know, on a Christmas tree, whenever we're painting a Christmas tree, our lines in the middle are kind of like straight down. But then when you're going off to the side, say if you're not using a fan brush, you're doing like a very little tree, and then they start curving off to the side, you know, kind of like this, you know, so you're falling. So something similar with your pumpkin. So this line's a little straight down, then this one starts bending over. So you're following the shape of the pumpkin. This one starts bending over like this way. You always have your pieces in the back as well. So you might have a piece there. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to put another one like maybe right here. You can just rub out the ones I initially had in there. I'm going to just get my feel. Okay, and then we have this one. So then I'll have like another back piece here, and then I put in my, I'll put in my stem. So I always have like kind of like a point that I come down to right here, and then I bring it back into here, okay, into these points, and then I'll bring my stem. It's always wider at the bottom. It gets a little thinner as you go up. So you could do like a little bit of a fancy stem, like if you wanted to like bring this up and around, you could. And then you just have this get a little thinner as you went up that way. So you're gonna have something like that. Or you can just have a short stem if you wanted to, okay? I'll show you how to paint it once we get these drawn in. All right, this I don't want to go over it quite as far. My chalk always ends up smudged anyway because I'm left-handed, and so it happens. So there's one pumpkin, okay? And then over here, you could do like a tall and long one, but you're gonna start in the center, just a little bit of a straight line, okay? Over here, follow the curve. I might make these a little thinner strips. So these are called pumpkin ribs. We learned that one year we did this one pumpkin painting. I think it was 13 or 14 times in a row. And Eliza and I, you know, that's a lot. It's very repetitive. And so, sorry to hear my dog. And Eliza and I were dying. We're like, oh my gosh, these pumpkins. It was a very popular pumpkin painting that I did bring here with me. And, but anyway, I'm going to make these small back pieces. What was my point about that? Was I telling you? I can't even remember now. But we could draw pumpkins in our sleep, you know. Sometimes we all have to pitch in when it's crazy in season with the drawing. The Lumen projector is great now, though. Like, that is so helpful. We're getting ahead of the season. We already have everything drawn for September, so we're pretty excited about that. We took advantage of our of downtime in the studio this summer to keep everybody busy, you know. We do summer camps in the summer, but painting classes I only do them on the weekends in the summer. So right here, so this is going to stay pretty dark in here at the bottom, and then we'll add some color up here as we go up. And I'm also going to grab a little bit of green so I can show you how to do a green stem, and I can show you how to do like a taupey brown stem too. Oh, pumpkin ribs. Thanks for reminding me, Lisa. I lost my old train of thought. Do you ever do that? So anyways, we did this class over and over and over again, and we learned so much about pumpkins, but these are called ribs. Thank you. That's hilarious. That explains why you're so talented. You're left-handed like me. Oh, thank you so much, Susan. Gorgeous painting already. You're so awesome, Donna. How are you today? But Lisa, keep me on track, you know, that happens sometimes. I squirrel, you can't remember. I'm getting some other paint colors over here real quick. And then we're going to start painting our painting. We can take the tree off of here. We can rub that off of there. Like that, okay. And like over here, like I would probably like put, you know, a piece of weed over here or something. And you could put like some cattails up here. You could easily make a painting. If I was going to make this painting, I'd lower it down a little bit so my composition would be a little bit better. But I was going to put pumpkins all over here, but you know, I have to make a painting, you know. But you could put like some leaves over here. You guys are going to make me want to paint another pumpkin painting tonight. But over here, I might make this one like wheat, so we'll leave that blank, and then maybe I'll show you how to make a couple leaves tonight too, if you want to. There's leaves you can make with just a couple of steps, and I have those colors on my plate, okay? All the time. So I'm glad it happens to other people too, with my squirreling. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna get my 1/2" flat. I'm going to, let's pick a color. We'll make one like orangey. How's that? You know what I'm starting to love? This terracotta color. I'm liking that with orange. And on black canvases, so I always pull my paint off to the side. A little bit of orange, a little bit of terracotta. And then in the beginning, only a little bit of white, okay? We're gonna have to decide where's the light gonna hit on this painting. Like, is it right in the front? Is it overhead? So if it was overhead, I would have the light hit towards the top of the pumpkins, ribs, okay? If it was like directly on, the light was directly on, I would have it hit more here, okay? So that's what I think I'm going to do. And then we're also going to give it an illusion that it's round, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well, okay? So what we're going to do first is we are going to go inside a pumpkin rib, okay? This is all about building up color, building up color. Down on the bottom, you know, leave some darkness come through. I love working with black canvases for that reason alone. I'm going to grab a little purple lake and show you. I'm going to show you how I use a little bit of purple as a shadow on the bottom of some of these colors. Purple lake is like a violet color, okay? You could always take it like a dark purple and add a little magenta to it and get a purple lake color. But I'm going to grab a little bit of this. I don't think I could possibly have any more colors on my plate. I wasn't quite sure what colors I wanted to paint with you, so I just thought I'll grab a few. So generally what I do is I paint a couple of these, and before it dries, I'll get in a shadow on the bottom while it's still wet, because I like to work wet on wet, and then I'll dry brush some areas at the end for highlights. Now you want to get really close with that chalk line right there, really, really close. So you don't want to leave a gaping amount of black, but you want to know where this one starts and that one ends. You could always go back and add a little bit of darkness in between there too. And I'll show you what I do. And I do that with some of the purple and the black as well, okay? So I'm gonna get a little bit more of the terracotta. But yeah, I started really liking, I used the terracotta in the gnome pumpkin, and I really liked it. So I'm gonna get, and it's okay if your colors vary right now, because we're gonna layer this up, okay? So I'm gonna pull this down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'll turn the sound off of there. I'm sorry. I'm going to pull, I'm not washing my brush. I'm going to pull a little bit of purple like in here, okay? Very light touch. So when I'm laying my brush down, it's the lightest touch, okay? So I'm not making like a block there. The other thing is some of my strokes are longer, some are shorter. So if I started and stopped with the same exact length every time you would build a block, where you really want it to be just a little feathered. So if down here we have this a little bit darker, and then in the center, when we layer this up, it'll be a little bit lighter. You're creating contrast and dimension within your pumpkin. It's going to look three-dimensional. So, and it's all with easy steps. But if you're a new painter, learn to use your light touch. And I'm generally on the back of the brush, just light. I'm not straight up and down. I'm kind of feathering it on the back of the brush, okay? Just make sure I'm not missing any comments here. Let me refresh it in case you guys have any questions. But this is all building this up, okay? So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna get my terracotta, my orange, and my white. If you don't have terracotta, that's another thing where you could get a little like dark brown. You could add a little orange to it and maybe a little bit of your, a little raw sienna and white to it, a touch of red. You can, and I always, when I mix colors, I mix a little bit at a time. If you are in the membership, there's 2 color mixing tutorials in there as well. So search for those if you need to mix, like we use a lot of the Lucas colors. And so if you need to mix any of those, there's 2 tutorials on how to do that, okay? So I generally go, and you need to follow the shape of the pumpkin, and you need to make long strokes where you can, and you want to lift off. Don't go over that crack until you have just a little bit of paint on your brush, okay? Then I'm going to grab my purple lake, and I'm going to come up from the bottom again, and I'm going to lift off. Okay, light touch. This is gonna look patchy, okay, first time around for sure. I'm gonna start down here with the darkness that I just grabbed because I still had some on my brush, and then I'm gonna grab my colors. But you can make so many different pumpkin colors, it's crazy. I'm gonna move this over here just because the camera is like directly in front of my hand here. You're always going to have a little bit more brightness around the edge. And when you're on the edge of something, you want to make a nice edge. So that's when you're going to apply a little bit of pressure, okay? And then it's going to be very light, pulling off, lifting off. Every stroke is lifting off, lifting off, lifting off. We even have a button for that because it's right here. Just because it's so important in painting to lift off your pressure. You just answered my question before I typed it. Oh, good. I'm glad. And so what you want to do is you want to lift off. Everything's a soft touch right now, except for when you're going for an outline, okay? So I'm going to go on the back here, and I'm going to make my edge right here, and then I'm going to lift off as I'm coming towards the center, because that's going to be a little bit shadowed, okay? A little bit shadowed in there. And then I'm going to pull this up just a little bit closer, and we can always put shadows back in, so don't worry at all. But yeah, you can make so many different colors of pumpkins. It's crazy. So I'm just getting my best angle for, you know, by turning this. So I'm going to make my line here, and I'm going to lift off as I come in. I'm going to come down here again. I need a little bit more paint on the edge. And then we can start layering this up a little bit, okay? All right, so that's our beginning point, okay? And then we'll start pulling it all together. All right, I'm just taking the remainder of my paint and kind of, so you can press a little harder once you know how much paint you have on your brush, all right? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start pulling in white. I'm going to start highlighting this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like right along this edge. I'm going to, my strokes are going to be very light, lifting off, lifting off, lifting off. So my goal right here is to get a little bit of a highlight on the edge of the pumpkin rib. And then there was too much dark there. And then I'm going to lift off, lift off, lift off, like making some longer, some shorter strokes, okay? I'm going to this one next. I'm gonna do that more towards the middle and close that up if you have a big, you know, black, you know, mark around the chalk line. This is just white to start. I'm lifting off, lifting off, lifting off. So we're making it look like the light is hitting like right towards the center, okay? If this is too thick right here, even a hair of it, you know, too much black showing through, will throw your eye off there, okay? I will make it a little highlight around the edge there. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. My mind, you're doing exactly what I do, so I don't drag my hand across the painting. That's why I do it. If I learn anything, it's your phrase, lift off makes all the difference. Oh, I'm so glad, Denise. Yay. I received your free drawing gift. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so glad. You're very welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to pull a little bit. I'm going to go around the edge. Light would hit right around the edge for sure. I'm going to take off my pressures. I'm coming in over here. And so the lifting off doesn't just come into play when you're painting your paintings. It comes into play whenever you're like painting a door. I remember people telling me all the time, like, oh, I hear you in my head even when I'm painting this or doing this, or, you know, it's so funny. But it keeps you, like, if you press hard, and it will show exactly where you stopped at, you know. But if you're lifting off, you're going to get a feathered mark. I'm going to put a little bit of the orange back in here, tiny bit. And a little bit more orange. I'm going too coral right there. So easy to change it up as you go. Okay. Nothing wrong with coral pumpkins, but so I'm going to get really close here. Apply a little pressure when I'm making a nice line. And we'll lift off as we come down, okay? I'm going to get a little bit more white. I'm going to go over here. Yeah, this is another reason why I'm so excited for the workshop, because pumpkins are one of my very favorite things to paint. That's why you see so many. If you have any other ideas for pumpkin paintings, type them in here. I'll look at everything. You know, I might add it to my inspiration list that I have on the wall. And so I just love fall. I'm going to go up. So I've said this every year and I haven't done it. And my parents have a place up by a lake in Pine-Tuming. And it's beautiful up there, and I've never went and stayed there in the fall. And so I'm going to go up. I'm going to make plans to go up in September, but I want to go like when the leaves are changing. That's the other thing that I'm going to do. In case you don't know, I am going to do a new reflections painting. So we're going to do our fall leaves, and I love that. We're going to learn to use your sea sponges for, and we'll put our lowlights back in too, guys. It's not done. So I always tell everybody, like, if you're painting with me, your painting, like, isn't done right away. Like, there's steps to get us there. So you want to make sure that you just trust the process. Like, just stick with me and trust the process. It's so nice to see, like, when people first start painting, they're nervous if they can do it, and they're stressed, you know, they're going to miss a step and this and that. And then after they've painted it once or twice, then the calmness comes over them because they're like, oh, I know I'm gonna leave here with a good painting. Like, I'm not gonna stress anymore. And so I love to see that. So just, trust me, I'll get you there. Simple steps. Like all the paintings that I create. So now I'm just grabbing more white because I'm making decisions like where I want the light to bounce off of it, okay? And remember, don't start and stop at the same place, all right? And what I mean by that is if you're taking this highlight down, I want to make sure, first of all, that my paint is running out by the time I'm coming down here, but I'm also lifting off, okay? So don't use a lot of paint. So I end up dry brushing. So if you look, it's very little paint when I'm doing the highlights. I'm pulling a small amount off to the side. That's something with new painters too, like you want to use a lot of paint. You don't have to use a lot of paint. And right now what I'm doing is I'm dry brushing. So when I realize how much paint I have on my brush, then I can press a little harder and stuff a little harder. But make sure that you're always turning your canvas to how you are most comfortable, okay? So I'll go over this. I like to layer things up a few times. So I'm gonna go make the light hit here. But what I meant was when I was talking about starting and stopping at the same place before I scroll again, is like this with these highlights. Don't make lines just right next to each other. Make sure that you are starting and stopping at different places, okay? And you have to step back and take a look at your painting. Love this, looks great already. Oh, thanks, Bonnie. And how are you today? I hope you're having a great day. So what we're trying to accomplish right now is we want this to look like it's coming out towards you right here. We want your eye to think that. So we're making it a little bit brighter towards the center and also in the center of the ribs. It'd be good if I turned off my sound, right? I'm sorry. Okay, so now I'm gonna go on the edge. The edge generally has a little bit more light. And I come back and do this a few times, okay? I think the next pumpkin we do together tonight should be like a blue one. What do you think? And then I'll show you how to add your low lights back in also, okay? So again, I have to turn this. I'm sorry. It's just, I can't contort myself, so I do turn it. So I'm just pulling, it's the smallest amount. Do you see that? Tiny bit of paint, smallest amount. You want to make sure that your brush has a nice edge on it and it can go flat for you, okay? So this is a 1/2 inch flat brush, okay? These are in our kits as well, and then also in our current brush packs. You should see the ones that we're having made though. Oh, they're so nice. The handles are so nice. They'll last a really nice time, long time. I'm gonna put a little bit of black at the top of this, and I'm gonna shorten it a little bit. I feel like it's a little too high right there, so that's why I just put my white in a little further. And I'll show you how to like carve something like a little bit off like that too. Okay. Let me lean back. So I was gonna say as well, you want to lean back and take a look at it to make sure. I constantly turn my canvas too. I'm glad I'm not the only one too. Hi Susan, teal. Yeah, we can do. How about a tealish bluish one? That's what we'll do. And so I'll go through maybe one more time. Maybe one more. So you guys have anything planned for the weekend? And we have our second class of the sea turtle tomorrow. And then Sunday, I actually carved out some time to go over to Boardman and look at some new devices to that hook up to our TVs over at the studio for when we teach. I'm going to try to get a new one that goes to my easel. So we're going to do that Sunday. So I think I'm okay with that. If anything, I'm leaning back to look at it. So you get a whole different perspective when you lean back or whenever you look through your phone. So you're going to get your perspective of like how it looks on a wall when you look at it on your phone, okay? Or you stand back. You need to stand back at least, 4 or 5 feet to get a good idea when you're, especially when you're painting something loosely. In the studio when I teach, I'm constantly like picking people's canvases up to show them. So say you need a little bit of a low light in there. You can take a little bit of your Purple Lake. You can get a tiny bit of black if you wanted to, but don't make it too dark, okay? And what you can do is you can scuff a little bit in these, you know, in these areas. So if you need a little bit on the bottom, again, you're not going to use a lot of paint, just a little bit. All right, I feel like that's a little too dark. So just a tiny bit if you need to put a little shadow in there or in between. Like you want to, still want it to be dark, but you don't want it to be like jet black. Does that make sense? This Purple Lake is a really nice color to use for shadows with pumpkins, okay? You don't always have to go as far as brighten this a million times, but I do like to brighten them quite a bit and work on a stem together too, okay? So this stem, let's go with, I'm going to go with a little, this is Van Dyke Brown. I'm going to get a little bit of my raw sienna and maybe a touch of my beige on the tip, but you can just use white. And so I build this up as well as also, but I'm going to start on the side the light would be hitting, which is the side like facing up over here, okay? As I come down, I'm going to take off my pressure as I get into this stem. Generally, I leave a little bit of black in there. And then I dry brush just a tiny bit. So you can't really tell, there's a lot of chalk in here, where this starts and ends in here. And I'll come in there with my black too, just because it's such a mess with my chalk. So instead of, if you don't have beige, just put a little bit of white in your light brown, which mine is raw sienna, okay? I'm gonna turn it again. So you always wanna know, like, where's the light hitting more? So I'm gonna go on this side, okay, right around the edge. And I'm gonna take my pressure off as I come in. You still want the centerpiece to look like it's coming out a little bit. So I'm gonna scuff it a tiny bit, okay? Tiny bit, not a lot. We will come back with a little bit of white and we'll highlight the edges of this as well, okay? And then we'll have to get a round brush to get into the smaller areas. Now you want to leave that little bit of black in there, but this area here, you're gonna have to put a tiny bit of white to catch that edge so you know where the shadowed part starts and stops, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna get my, this is a number 2 round. It's a Princeton brush. It's very similar to a script liner, is just a little bit skinnier, you know, and you can flatten them both out really well. We use a script liner all the time. And then we also always use a round brush. It's not always like a long round brush, but you can. So what you can do, I'm going to turn this back up, okay, is you want to wet it. You're going to water down your paints. I'm going to mix the 2 browns together, put a little bit of white on my tip and tap it off. When you put paint on your tip, don't ever go straight to your canvas, because if you go straight to your canvas, you're only going to get the white, okay? So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to start on the top end of that, okay? And then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'll get some of my browns to blend into that highlight. So I'm going to go around my loop. A little bit too much of the raw sienna, so I'm going to go back in. Oh, I'm going to go back in with my Van Dyke Brown, darken that just a touch, bring it around the loop. And I'm going to scuff this on the way down, okay? And then your white highlight is really going to bring this together, okay? But before I do that, let's get our black where all my messy chalk is, because it's a mess. So you can see the actual stem. You can always just wait until the end and you can like just clean this up with a damp cloth when everything's nice and dry. But because I don't want you looking at that like that the whole time, I'll clean it up now. So I'm gonna go in here, and then this would generally be black, not like covered with a ton of chalk, okay? So I have a little bit of black in here. Okay, and that'll dry in a minute, so it doesn't stand out so much. Okay, so what I was talking about, like on the back end of something where it's dark and you're on a dark canvas, oh, this is where, since I have the black, remember I told you I was gonna like take out a little piece of this? I'm gonna take out like, I feel like it's up too high. I'm gonna take this out here. I'm a little shaky. I just had that extra large coffee from Sheets. Oh my goodness. I'm addicted to it. Just black coffee, but okay. So that'll dry in just a minute. And you gotta watch though, when you're like working on a black canvas that you haven't gessoed and it came black, you don't want like a big blob of black on the background. You know, you wanna, generally you'll have a black background in there, but you wanna blend it out just a little bit. It was watered down too much, so we'll come back and play with that. But what I'm gonna do is you can get your script liner and you can go back and highlight this. When you use a script liner, you need to water it down like 2 or 3 times, okay? And then you wanna roll it to a point. You wanna flatten it a little bit, okay? This makes a big difference in your painting, all right? Big, big difference. So very lightly, you just drag this. You don't want to press hard. You don't want it watered down to the point where it's running, but you need water in it so it goes on nice and easy, okay? I'm gonna skip around up here. Now, if you ever get tremors, like if you, I definitely get it with my spinal cord injury, and essential tremors like runs in my family also, but we work with people that have Parkinson's, that have essential tremors, that have back issues, and you can always steady your hand. So even on my shakiest day, I can still paint. So you just anchor your hand on a dry part of the canvas, hold your brush by the metal, and then you just drag it lightly, okay? So I'm just gonna go here. And so you can always steady yourself. You should see people when they're so elated to see that they can still paint even though they're so shaky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this round brush that has short bristles, okay? And you can do this with gold. It looks really nice with gold. But this is, you can use like a 2 filbert, a 0 filbert. We've had these brushes for over 6 years, and they don't make them anymore, and so it's unfortunate that this kind of, it's similar to a filbert, but anyways, it's real short bristle. It doesn't have a real point on the end, but I'm just gonna scrub in. This is the brush I use for dry brushing, so we're gonna have it made since we can't find this anywhere. All of our brush suppliers don't, and I mean there's so many brushes available, but we can't get it. So I'm just lightly, this is a brush I use for dry brushing all the time. So of course, if you don't have a brush like this, all you do is you take a round brush, okay, with a point on it, and you use the bottom part of this, okay? Like I dry brush with, you know, down here with this brush. So I'm just pressing it, or if you have a small filbert. So this does wreck your brushes a little bit, but I use this for that all the time. But what you can do is you can boil water, and you can put your brushes down in for 60 seconds, pull them out, and then you just take the water out of them, lay them flat to dry, and you bring your brushes back to life. And so you can do that to a brush and not worry so much about ruining it too, okay? So I'm just gonna put a little bit where I think the light would hit this curve. And any questions on this pumpkin? Any questions? You guys are quiet. And then what I do too is I'll take the script liner. I'm just gonna clean up some chalk right here. I take the script liner and I highlight some of the edges. Oh, here's another thing you can do. So say you don't have nice shadows in here, okay? Like you didn't leave your black in here. I always like to show people how to put that in. Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna get a little bit of brown, and this is dry brushing, smallest amount of paint. Get in here because it would be just barely touch it. This is my lightest touch. You can put a shadow on here to make your eye think that is bending in right here. But you gotta take your pressure off as you go out, okay? And that's how you make a really 3-dimensional pumpkin. And if you're missing that down here, then you could scrub it in down there. I have it already, but also you can take your script liner and water down some white, okay? And then you're gonna roll it to a point. You're gonna catch some edges with your script liner. So you can always like very lightly scrub, you know, some brighter pieces in through here, okay? And that'll make it pop even more. And you can also catch like the outside edge of your pumpkin as well. So you can always brighten a little bit there. And make sure you're lifting off, okay? So the light would hit way back here, all right? So you get that. And you would also have the light hit like over here on the side, okay? So you have a little bit of light there. So I'm gonna go over here and pull down, okay? And that has to be watered down. And when you set this down so you don't get like a blunt mark right here, it's the lightest touch. Don't have a lot of paint in there either, okay? While I have the script liner out, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna water down some Van Dyke Brown, maybe a little bit of, my raw sienna, my Van Dyke Brown. I'm gonna put like a line here for a cattail. What do you think? Could do that. And then maybe I'll put a line here for a piece of wheat. And what you can do is get a little bit of white to highlight it, tiny bit, and then I'm gonna show you how to make the easiest cattail ever. And piece of wheat, okay? Do you want me to show you that? Hi, Alyssa. Thank you so much. I had to go and I'm back, but I have to leave again. I hope I can get to watch a replay. Thank you, Casey, for all you do for us. You're so nice, Mindy. You have a great night. And thanks, Debbie. Have a great night, and we'll see you a little later. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so if you want to make a cattail, you just get your 1/2 inch flat. I'm gonna grab a little bit of raw sienna. I'm gonna put a little bit of white on my tip, okay? You're gonna start on the side that the light is facing. So I'm gonna go here, all right? I'm gonna pull around, okay? And I'm gonna lift off. So you don't want a ton of paint because you wanna lift off. Try to round that edge just a little bit and then scuff as you come over here, okay? Then wipe off your brush and your paint towel and grab just the brown, the Van Dyke Brown and the raw sienna. I'm gonna turn this, okay? I'm gonna have to turn it again. I need to get to the other side right here. So I'm gonna lay it up against this edge, okay? And I'm gonna pull over and lift off just very lightly. Leave some of the darkness show in the center, okay? So then you just want to get a little white. See, all of these little pieces, there's all little tips and tricks to make them. You can make every one of these paintings that I have, even if you've never painted before. Every single one. And so every time you paint a painting, you're going to like learn a new tool. And so eventually you're going to be like, oh, I know how she built that painting. Like we have 26 girls at the studio, ladies. And they all learn to teach, and at some point, very quickly, within a couple months, they know how I built a painting. So you'll be able to do the same. You bet. You make it look so easy. Watching you is so calming. Thank you. It's been a long week. Oh, I'm so glad, Denise. That makes me so happy. Cattails are fun. They are fun. And thanks, Alyssa. Okay, so then with the wheat, okay, what you want to do, a lot of times I'll just get gold. Do you want me to get some gold? I'll show you how to make one with gold. I like to, because it's only 2 colors with gold. And I don't want to use, so we have our Lucas gold, but Lucas gold is very metallic. So for the cattail, sometimes I'll go with another gold. So Lucas gold, if you look here, is very, very metallic, okay? But for the cattail, so our eye doesn't draw there, I'm going to use the Creative Inspirations gold. It's not as metallic, okay? So I'm going to put, this comes in a 1.8 liter bottle. That's why I have it in a 2-ounce cup. That's how I bring them home from the studio, so I don't have to bring a whole jug home. So what you want to do with that is we're going to get the gold. Make sure that you get the white out of your brush, okay? I'm gonna get the gold. This you need a little chunky, don't water it down too much, all right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make one line at the top, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull them in from the sides as you go down, okay? Pull them in, pull them in. So pull in, I'm using my script liner because it's a thinnish brush. Sometimes I'll put one in the middle, okay? And then we're gonna come down I can turn off my phone too. We're going to come down just maybe a couple more. 3/4 of an inch, a little bit darker towards the bottom and one in the middle, okay? So you have the top of your wheat. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna wash your brush, you're gonna get just white, then you're gonna highlight where you think the light would hit that, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put like a little dash on the top of that side, maybe here, 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 you know, sometimes in the middle. Slightest amount of paint, okay? Little tiny bits, a little bit of a dash here, here, and then sometimes in the middle, less light on the other side. So if our light source is over here a little bit more, okay? And on black, a lot of things, you know, dry a little bit darker. So sometimes you have to go back and you may have to like add a highlight like I am to like the stem of the cattail or right here on the wheat, okay? So just easy like that. So you could do like all kinds of filler stuff. This one over here for the leaves, what I do is I'll mix teal with black because I like to gray it down and make like a eucalyptus color. So we can do that. I'm going to add a little bit of white to this pile. I'm always mixing small amounts at one time. And then if you're on a black canvas, you need to make it, you know, a little bit brighter so it shows up. So we'd start with that. And then I'm going to get a little bit of white to highlight that as well, okay? And I'm going to show you a simple step to make leaves, all right? Let's put the stem in there for here too. So we do have to make a whole scene, right? Am I keeping you too long? I'm excited about painting Stolen Pumpkin with you. It'll be my first time painting with you. I'm excited too, Robin. You're going to do great. Hi, Carolyn. How are you? You're going to do great, Robin. I know it. Okay, so I don't know why my line is so wonky right here, but I'm going to bring this around here, okay? And then we'll make some leaves together really quick. Let me get... I don't have green on my plate. I don't think I was planning on doing all of these, but I'm going to. So you can see like a whole scene. Let me grab some mint green, wherever that is. My husband put my paints away for me, which is really nice, but then they're in a different spot. I can't find the mint green. I'm probably just blind to it. 1 second. I can't see it. I don't know where I put it. Well, we'll just use a little white on the tip. Oh, listen, I already grabbed it. I can't even blame him. It's right here next to it's right here next to the easel. Okay, so I'm going to get a little sap green on my plate. So I use a little sap green, and if you put white in sap green, you get a mint green color. I don't know if I can put any more paint on this plate. Mint green I love. This is a Lucas color. Look how pretty this is. But you can, it's just such a laziness that I like it. If you put white and a little bit of that sap green, you'll get it. I'm trying to get a little on the side of my plate. I'm out of room. Don't you love the extra help? Not. Right? I know, right? He does like, it is all in a different space. And he's so nice. He was like, what can I do to help you? You know, I'm like, if you want to organize my paints back over there, because I had them spread out everywhere. Okay, but then you can't find anything. But I'm going to get a little bit of my sap green. I'm going to get a little bit of my teal. You can mix this up, which is Viridian. Okay, and then I'm going to put the tip in my mint green, maybe a little bit of white. So you see I'm tapping it off. If I don't tap it off, you're going to get all white, okay? And these are pretty small leaves, all right? So I'm going to go from the tip, push down, pull down and around, okay? And then I'm not going to get any more white. I'm going to go to the bottom side. I'm going to push down and pull around, okay? And lift up. So they're just like 2 steps. I'm actually going to make my stem a little bit more green because I changed up the colors I was going to do. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get a little bit of white, tap it off. I have to turn this. I'm so sorry. But these are your 2-step leaves, all right? So what you're going to do is you always start on the top of like where the light is facing. A little bit of pressure, pull down and lift off, all right? Then go back and just get your darker colors. And I'm going to pull down and around, and then you can just lift off towards the middle, okay? Couple easy strokes. And then I'm going to go here. You can do this with a round brush as well. I always like to use the biggest brush for the job, but I can show you a round brush if you would like. We need a little bit of white. I can show you a round brush if you would like on the other side, okay? You don't always, and some people may not have the 1/2 inch flat. So I'm going to pull this and come around this way. There's a little too much white in there, okay? Easy way to make leaves. And so on the other side, I'm going to show you how to do it with a round brush, okay? So I'm going to grab a round brush with a point on it. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mix this up. Get a little black in there to gray it down, but then bring some white to it, okay? So you can see it. I'm going to lightly drag this over my line as well. I probably should get the script liner out, but I don't want to keep the tealy color if we're going to use the greens like this. So I have my green. And if I'm missing a comment while I'm painting, I will look later, or you can ask me again. It only shows me the last 5 for some reason. Okay, get my white, tap it off. So if you're using, move this over here so you have a better angle. If you're using a round brush, you start here. All right, and then you're going to go to the bottom, and I'm just going to pull in very lightly, okay? I feel like you have just a little bit more variation in the colors whenever you're using a, wipe that off, go back for your darker colors. When you're using a flat brush when you can, and that's a little too much of that. So you can always go back and get a little bit of white, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this through and lift off, okay? But I'm all about, you'll see in all the paintings, like if you haven't painted with me before, that I like to use the biggest brush for the job. So right there, the white didn't come off on there. So all you do is you go back and get the white, and then you can go on the top. My worst angle is right here with the camera right in front of my chest. Like I can't reach it very well. You'll hear me in the tutorial say that. I'm like, I can slide this over. A little bit of white, and then tap it off. And then I'm going to go around, pull it in. And on the bottom, remember to get your darker color, okay? So I'm going to go here and pull it in, okay? And if you needed more white again, just get your white, tap it off, go around the edge. Always when you're going around the edge, make sure that you're pressing and then lifting off, okay? Do you have lots of paint on your palette? Do you use it later by activating it with water? So sometimes, Denise, there's a lot of paint on there because I didn't know what colors I was going to use. So if it's a Lucas paint and it's not touching anything, sometimes I scoop it back in the bottle. Otherwise, if I'm painting later in the day, I will use it. I'll put water in it. Or sometimes I have foil behind me. I'll put foil in it every once in a while as well. So that's a really great question because you really don't want to waste it. And Katrina, she's one of our members. We always talk about that, like how I always dump so much paint on my plate. I get mine mixed if I have many colors on one plate. I end up having to use several plates. I usually use 2. I wasn't sure what colors I was going to use when I jumped on. So there's Eliza Beale texting us. I'm going to shut this off real quick. Sorry about that. But anyway, usually my phone's off. But yeah, generally I know what I'm going to do, and I put my background and foreground colors on one, and then I put my, I put all my other colors on another. And so that's usually what I do. So I'm going to get a little bit of my Van Dyke brown. I'm going to show you how to put in a foreground. We need to put the whole painting in, right? I'm going to get a little bit of white on my tip, okay? You always want to leave like a little bit of darkness, like right underneath the subject that you're working with, okay? So a little bit of darkness here. And then I'm going to show you how to scuff and bring this down and put in a little bit of a foreground. Then we'll come back and we'll highlight a little bit more at the very top of it to look like the light's balancing off of it. So I'm going to get a little of my dark brown and bring it through. So I want a little bit of a shadow in some of these areas, and then I'll scuff A little bit more bright paint through it, okay? And you can turn your brush if you need to here also. So you can just use white with your raw sienna, or you can use the beige if you have a little bit of beige. Now here's the thing, when you're going out to the side, don't have a block. You want to make sure it thins out when you're putting something like this in, okay? I have to move this over as well. So I'm going to take off my pressure as I come down. I just want to give an implication that it's not floating in the air, and taking my pressure off, letting the black show as it gets a little bit lower. If you need to fix anything, you can always go back and add a little bit of black starting at the bottom and working your way up, okay? So I'm going to get a little bit of dark brown again right underneath the pumpkin. And I'm scuffing left to right, right to left. And I'm lifting off. I have very little paint, not a lot of paint. I'm going to get a little raw sienna. Sometimes I go like back with stuff like this. If I have gold throughout my painting, I'll put a little bit of gold in the foreground also. I'm just going to scuff that a little. Maybe a little bit more color here. And then what we'll do is we would get white and make it like a little brighter at the top. Okay, but I just wanted something underneath it. I don't really care to just put a line there. I always have to put something. I'm gonna put a little bit of white towards the top. Here's my weird angle, so I'm just gonna turn it again. I'm really sorry. And so I'm just going to kind of like skip through with the white. I don't want a big bold line. I'm just going to skip through, okay? Tiny bit. I'm going to come over here. Take your pressure off as you come down, okay? So we have a little bit of a foreground there now, all right? And so let's do our bluish tealish pumpkin, okay? So I'm actually just gonna wipe off my brush, and let's see if we can make, look how messy this is. It's such a mess. Are you guys still with me? Is this going too long? Let's see, it's 9:48, I'm so sorry. Let me go here for a second. I have my glasses on. I have this light like right in your eyes. Hold on 1 second. Let me turn this down. This is so you can see. That's the opposite way. Wrong one. Do you guys want me to do the next pumpkin? Can you stick with me? I just want to make sure. Okay. My favorite painter to watch is Bob Ross. He's great. And I haven't found another that I liked watching till I found you. Oh my gosh, I'm so touched. Thank you so much. Your painting looks great, and it's so easy to listen to you as well. Ashley, I'm very touched. Thank you. That's one of the biggest compliments I've ever received. Thank you so much. And thank you, Connie. You're so kind. How's the kids doing? Are you excited for the weekend? Let me see. Now let's keep painting. Okay. Kitty, yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm going to keep painting. I missed someone's comment on there. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back here. Okay, and we're going to do tealish blue. Okay. So that's going to be our next thing. I've turned the light back on. Sorry. Okay. So I just wiped off my brush because I don't want too much water in it. I think I'm going to use, so this indigo, I would generally put that back in the bottle right here because I do like the indigo is, let me move this down just a little bit. A Lucas paint. I love it. That's one of my favorite colors this last season. Is indigo. I did put that, I think they quite a few backgrounds. There's like sunflowers at night, hydrangeas at night. I have like 3 or 4 flower paintings there at night. So I do have a little viridian here. I could get turquoise as well, but let's see how this turns out. Oh, I think we're gonna do that. Maybe a little bit of black for a low light, a little bit of white. So I think if you didn't have indigo, indigo is a, like if you mixed a purple, like a Doxstein purple, or yeah, Doxstein purple in a phthalo blue or ultramarine blue with a tiny bit of white, I'm going to take that off there, then you'd get that color, okay? But I'm going to put a little bit of teal into there. Ours is called Viridian. And let's see what we come up with, all right? So, ooh, that'd be pretty. I have a couple other pumpkins similar to this color. Would you like more teal? I have a turquoise also I could grab. I kind of like this blue. Let's see. I always like to try new things too, you know, especially with acrylic paint. So if you haven't painted before and you're interested in painting, don't ever worry about trying something new, for the fact that with acrylic paints, you can take your paint towel and you can wipe it right off with a little bit of water. So there's no worries there. And if you see later you don't like something, then you can always just paint over it, or you can blow dry it. Long strokes, long strokes. I'm gonna let the black show through down here. We could put a little purple at the bottom with this, but I don't know if it's necessary. Remember, don't leave too much of that where that chalk line is. Get real close to it, okay? This one will build, colors like this you can build up a lot quicker. The oranges on black, they take probably the longest. And then if you do like a, you know, brown and tans and things like that, they build up fairly quickly too. So I'm gonna start up here. So you always have that curve at the top and then pull down around. So here, you always have to decide like what's in front of one another, okay? So this is in front of this. So that is gonna shadow that a little bit, okay? So you have to bring your paint down there, but take your pressure off as you're coming down, okay? And then I'm going to come down here and just, I don't want to come down here until I have just a little bit of paint. I don't want a lot of paint on my brush. Okay, so I'm going to get that bottom in there, make a couple round marks down there. So I'm scuffing when I'm down there. I don't have a lot of paint, okay? This is definitely more blue than teal, so my apologies if you wanted. Once I started putting in, I was like, oh, it's gonna look nice. So I stuck with it, so I'm sorry. Next time I paint pumpkins with you, I'll do, we're gonna pull in here. I'll do a teal pumpkin because I've painted a lot of teal pumpkins and I do love them. This one little piece coming down this way. Go back here and pull in, okay? So this is gonna be fun to brighten up. Now, here's the problem with having the paint on the side of your plate. You're putting your hands in it. When I'm in the studio or painting alone, I don't have this much paint on my plate and it's generally not up on the edges either. So you'll be a hot mess doing this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start my brightest spot again. So right here, I feel like it's gonna be like right in this area. You're gonna lift off, up and down. Does anybody know? Did I miss something? Will this be on replay? I had to be late. Yes, Kathy. So as soon as this is over, you can refresh, hit the little circle on the top left of your computer, and or just come back onto Facebook and it'll be there. So you can hit play from the beginning. It looks more teal, it looks more like steel blue. I agree. And how are you, Kathy? So I'm going to start here. We're going to start building it up. Okay. It's a little bit brighter here. I don't have a ton of paint on my plate. This is a longer pumpkin, so you have to bring it down a little bit more, okay? So you don't want to use a lot of paint. You want to make sure that that you're taking the time to build this up little by little, okay? I'm going to get a little bit more viridian. I have quite a bit of viridian in there, but the indigo takes over. I can see a touch of it. I don't know if you guys can see that. I can see a touch. So taking your pressure off, don't come down to the bottom until your paint's almost gone. All right, we're gonna build it. And then this stem we can do with a little bit of green in it so you can see the difference, okay? Yeah, I would love to paint pumpkins all day long. I love it. A bit of white. I just keep pulling white into the same coloring. I am going to turn my canvas to get that side there in a second. I'll build this up a little bit more. So a little bit more white every time you're building it up, okay? So I'm going to turn this a little bit. I feel like my pumpkin ribs, like there may be too much space in between them. I'm gonna go a little bit brighter here because I'm gonna end up brightening other areas. So I'm just gonna do this right now, a little bit brighter so I don't have to turn it so much on you. Start with bright and then pull in and lift off. I still can't believe how hot it is in so many parts of the country still. I hope it cools down for everybody. We lived in Florida, so when I go outside the edge like that, I'm not worried about that. Like before, you know, I'll show you this right now. You just get your round brush, get a little bit of black, and like right here, I didn't like the shape, and so what I'm going to do is go like this. I know everything's fixable, so I don't worry. Let's just get rid of this chalk in here while we're at it. That way we don't have to do that later. We used to live in Florida. We moved back here, gosh, I'd say we lived in Sarasota 18 years ago because my son is now 18 and we moved when he was a baby. And I remember the days like where you're like, oh, you can't go inside or you're at the water, one or the other. But even being in the pool, you know, it's a scorcher sometimes. Okay, so fix that up back there, and then I'm going to go back to my plate here. I'm going to get my teals, I'm going to get my indigo, a little bit of black. I do like to gray it down a little, kind of like when I do with the eucalyptus-y color, you know. So I'm going to go here. I didn't get this edge, so I'm going to go out here just a little bit, catch that edge a little more. Remember, some long, some short. And if you're just jumping on from missing your message while I'm painting, I'll look in a little bit. And I'll be sure to answer you. And thanks so much for joining us, everyone. And if you're missing your dark, you can always put that in and rebuild it back up. You're not stuck. So remember that you can always change it, you know. So this right here, I'm going to make it a little bit brighter right around this edge, okay? And I'm going to lift off as I come over. I'm going to make it a little bit more pastel-y, so I'm going to start brightening this just a little bit more. Starting and stopping different places, okay? And then I'll see if it's too bright. Once I get that in, let me look at it. This line's over a little too far for me right there, so I can correct that later. I'm just getting white right now. I'll bring some of these down here. We'll clean up those lines up there also. I'm making it a little bit brighter right in through here. There's a scuff I didn't mean to happen. I'll move my canvas over again, okay? You know me and this camera. My body doesn't have the angle, like, where I can, like, contort myself to get over to it. You guys like this color? Something different. I do think like the teal with like this color here would be really nice also. But the turquoise, I have a it's not on my plate. I have a turquoise Lucas paint that's beautiful. And so that would look really pretty with this. Remember this, your highlight could have been up towards the top too, but I'm just making it so the light's coming like straight in this way. And we'll get a little bit of indigo and maybe a little bit of black to go in the ribs, a little bit like in between. Okay. If you would see how much green I keep, you know, putting my finger in, it's a little too much white. So you can almost wipe that off just like that. Never worry, never think, oh, I ruined it. You can change anything. So don't ever think that. And sometimes, just like Bob says, it is a happy accident. You know, I did something last night. My son was in here, and I was like, you think that's going to be a happy accident? I forget what it was. You ever have where your brush just flies out of your hand? You're like, how does that even happen? And lean back and look at it. I think I'm liking it. And then we can, this is all dry brushing at the end, very little paint. Remember to leave this shadow right here so that can make it, and this just right here just got too bright, like right next to that, because we don't want to make that look like it's coming out near, out in front of that other pumpkin. So what I would do here is I would get my black, little bit of my indigo, and you want to wipe it off on this messy awful plate. And then what I'm going to do is take my pressure very lightly and put a little of that shadow back in there. And I also need to get a little of that pumpkin rib back in there too, okay? I'd rather you do like dark gray or a little bit of your, you know, your indigo or dark blue, like if you have phthalo blue or something, and the black in these areas where the chalk lines were, then to have like just straight on black. Because you don't want your eye to go there, you know? And you can scuff like in the other areas as well, like in your brighter areas too, just very lightly add some of those creases back in there. Okay, a little bit of blue came off there. So I'm gonna make this a little bit darker at the top. And then what we'll do is we'll accent that with like a little bit of a white highlight once we get this in. I like the blue. Just gonna bring some of this darkness down here. I think I'm okay with that. In order from Jerry Jarman, they carry Lucas paints. They do. Whoops. It put, Susan, it put venture.com by accident. Oh, thanks so much, Robin. Jill, yeah, Amazon has it too. Jerry's paint is cheaper if you get it on their site. The other thing that we're trying to get to as well at the studio is packaging smaller amounts of the paints we use for people, so they don't have to go, if they want to use the same paints, so they don't have to go and get them, get big bottles of them, try to do it, you know, a little bit more economical. We're trying to get to that. But also, so if you're a member, and I don't know if a lot of people do know this, I was talking about this the other day, that if you're in your library and you're under, oh, I know why, because we started getting a lot of members from other countries in the last, like we have members from other countries, but we started getting more, like from the United Kingdom, and we already had Canada, where else? But anyways, they can't get, you know, some of our paints. Well, I was showing them that you can go in the library and pick a tutorial and go to that tutorial, and on the left hand side is all the links for the paints. Okay, so say they can't get those paints in their country, there are swatches. Like she had Liquitex paints, there's swatches of every color right there. There's a block for the swatch for the colors, so you can try to match up what you have. Also, we don't want you to have to buy paint to paint with us, okay? So if you have craft paint, it's okay. The only thing that I would suggest that you do get that would make a huge difference in your painting is to go and get some thick white. Like a Lucas white is so nice and rich and thick. Let me grab it. Creative Inspirations isn't quite as thick, but they do have a covering white that's not bad. There's several different brands. This Lucas is my favorite over the years, like favorite. I love it so much, and it really does make a difference in my painting. Because I know at the studio one day we have Creative Inspirations there as well in the big jugs. This is the biggest you can get this in the Lucas, is the 500 milliliter. So for white, we get the covering white at the studio for the classes. Well, I was using it to paint the stacked pumpkins one day I was over there, and instead of getting my butt out front to get the other paint, and it made a difference because I was making it, you know, textury, you know, painting. And so something I wanted some raised paint, and stuff, so it does make a difference. I'm gonna get a little sap green, put a little black in it. This is another nice color, this nice stem color. I was gonna put on my plate, but my plate's too full. It's an olive green, and it's like an army green color. It makes a really nice stem color. But if you add a little black into your green, a touch of white, you'll get a very similar color to that. So I'm gonna start on the brightest side, like I did before. Okay, a little bit of pressure down the brightest side. Then I'm gonna go down the stem. I'm gonna pull down, I'm gonna lift off. Don't use a ton of paint because we need it to like run out, okay? You can get a little bit of pale yellow or a little bit of white as you come down. You can get a little bit, your stem can have brown at the bottom. So why don't we do that? I'm gonna pull some Van Dyke Brown in with the green. I actually think browns and greens look amazing together. And then I'm going to scuff it. You have to leave some of this black show through at the bottom. So you want your paint to disappear by the time you come down here, okay? So if you lose it, you want to put that back in. So then what I do is I'll go back and I'll get my white. And a lot of times, let's do this too. You can get your gold. I have a little bit of gold there. You can get your gold first. And gold looks beautiful. I actually like the other gold, the Lucas gold, is a little bit more for stems, but this will do. And you can scuff a little gold on here before you put your white highlight on. And it looks nice also. I always go down the bottom and run my finger up that way because I want that dark, I want that darkness to stay there. So I'm just going to scuff this a little. I'm going to bring this up a little further. Let that drip down a little too low. And then I'm going to bring my highlight down this side a little bit more. This is dry brushing. The art of dry brushing, you can create so many beautiful paintings by learning the art of dry brushing and your lightest touch, okay? So very, very little paint there. And then when you go to the dark side of something, you still need to show where the edge is. Just very lightly, tiny bit of paint where the edge is. So then what I would do is I would get my script liner and I would water down my white. There's a lot of paint on here, right? Water down my white. Just came out of my cup. Otherwise, if it didn't come out of my cup, you'd have to water down your side pal 2 to 3 times, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here, maybe across the top, barely touch over here, but I would catch this back end a little bit there. Pull it down just a little bit. That was a little too bright right there. Let me lean back. Oh, it's okay. And then I'm going to go over here where my bad angle is. Let me get this a little bit better. I have some chalk that goes out there. I'll have to clean up. I'm going to get this outside edge right here. If you feel like it's too bright, you can always just wipe it off. A lot of times you'll see me like press something with my finger too. I'm just gonna, even though this is, has your darker area in it, I'm just gonna show like where that starts and stops at the top by adding a little bit of brighter white there. And then you can go and highlight some of these edges, just like that, where it's coming out towards you, okay? Start and stop at different places. I'm sorry if I missed any of your messages. I'll definitely look through too as soon as I'm done. Well, I can see the last 5, but whenever we're done, I can go back through all the comments. Okay, so let me lean back. I think right here, it's a little too bright, like, needs to be right here, but I think this might be a little too bright. Let me see. No, it's okay now. And then sometimes you have to show where it starts and stops at the bottom, but these have to be really light touches. So you could like make your, like almost like slight U's down at the bottom here. Catch the edge of this as well, okay? But if you're gonna go through and wipe all of this with your paint towel to get rid of your chalk lines, just wait a few minutes, make sure it's nice and dry. Like see all the chalk lines around the leaves and stuff? But if you need to get your black back in, say the base of this stem, what you can do is take a little bit of black with a round brush and then just make a circular motion. Hold on, there's water in there. Let me get my black. I do go like this just to make sure I don't have too much paint on the tip of my brush when I know I need just a little bit. So I'm gonna lift off my pressure as I come up and maybe even shadow a little bit more on that right side a tiny bit. You can scrub your darkness back in the bottom. So that adds like a lot of dimension to your painting. So if you need a little bit more here, you can do that. If you lost your darkness like right in through here, the top, you can always just take the smallest amount of paint, or if you wanted some like in between the pumpkin ribs in here, just dry brush it on just a tiny bit. Just a little bit. Let's see if that's too dark. Okay. So what do you guys think? Anybody have any questions? I'm gonna go this way. Oh, let me turn off this light first so I'm gonna blind you. Okay, there we go. I didn't want to blind you. Does anybody have any questions? I love this, it's gorgeous. Oh, thank you so much. I can put this, let me get up and let me put this back this way. My dog's gonna think I'm gonna run him over. You know, he's always sleeping like right behind me. Here, I'll put this behind it in case you guys have any questions. I'll move this back here. Look at this poor chair. Like, I brought this chair home from the studio, and because my other one started like just going down on me. If it's just me, but anyways, it already has paint all over it in a couple months. But let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much. Thank you. You guys are so nice. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody want it? Have it. I can send it to somebody, although it's, you know, it has a little, I don't know, it's not all like finished, so I don't know if anybody would want that. You love the dry brush effect. Thanks, Mary, too. Thanks, Candy. Thanks, Sandy. Robin, I love to dry brush. You'll find in so many of my paintings, I dry brush. I even try to teach and I do teach our little ones dry brushing too, for the ones that come for like multiple classes. And so once you learn that pressure and how much paint's on your brush, and when you're dry brushing too, like you're using your brush like this. I always have that wrong. Like you're using it like this. Okay, so you're using this part of the brush, not this part of the brush. And it makes such a huge difference. And if you're lifting off, it makes such a huge difference. So make sure you're lifting off. But always like wipe your brush like on the side of your plate. You will learn that, like we used to like kind of mock Lexi, one of our instructors too, for always doing this. And then I think I started doing that as well, just like this past year, you know, it's messy, but you always know how much paint's on your brush. Like, and if you don't feel it coming off on there, thank you so much, Cheryl. How are you? You'll take it. Deborah, it's yours. You can have it. Email me, Deborah, your address. We'll ship it out to you on Monday. I'll clean it up for you a little bit, okay? But you can have it. But dry brushing, definitely learn the art of dry brushing. There's paintings we use chunky paint. There's paintings, you know, that I'd say most of our paintings, if I would look at it right now, like even this kid's painting, not using a lot of paint, light strokes, lifting off, building this up without using a ton of paint. So I try to teach that as well. Like, same thing with this moon on here, you know. So if those of you that are in the workshop, wherever that painting is, I don't even know where I put it. Now you're going to be able to see, where did I put our workshop painting? Anybody know? Like, I had paintings sitting all over. Let me see. Here it is. I have it. Okay, so in here, now you know how I built this pumpkin. Okay, so if you haven't joined the workshop, you can join it here. But you know how I built this pumpkin? It's the same way that I just showed you. And so, but you have the face drawn in, or you have the stencil for the virtual tutorial. We have a lot of kits that went out as well. But you know, same thing. The dry brushing is all the bandages as well. And it's easy to do. I'm telling you, you'll get this. These are going to be so cool. This is dry brushing as well. So this whole workshop is about dry brushing. So I can't wait to do it with you. Thank you so much, Pat. The candy corn did make me smile. Thank you so much, Virginia. Getting ready to sign up for your upcoming class. So excited. Yay! This is going to be so much fun. It's on the home page. So if you scroll down to the middle of the page, it's under the featured products. It's $10. It's Tuesday and Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. If you can't make it live, the replays will be in there. We also have a bonus in there of beginner's boot camp. So much dry brushing in there. I'll show you. There's so many techniques in the beginner's boot camp also. So that's in there. How to gesso a black canvas. How to paint your canvas black is in there also. How to transfer a stencil is in there. So there's a lot of videos in that group. So if you sign up, make sure you go over to KCK HQ Stolen Halloween workshop. I don't know why I make them so long on Facebook, because that's where we're going to be on Tuesday. Okay, it's going to be a great workshop. We're going to have a lot of fun, so I'm excited for that. And then the story night one is after that. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. I love painting pumpkins with you. I am going to, you know, I have this on my list. I'm going to show you guys this. So this, for those of you, I let the cat out of the bag about this. This is painting of the month, for which means HQ gets it as well for our members for September 1st. So that's coming up. This is in the vault as well, coming up. It was filmed already as well. And this one was filmed as ready. So I'm giving up some of the paintings to show you what we have coming up in the vault. But I'm thinking I'm going to come online. I'm a mess, so I'm sorry. I'm going to come online and show you some simple techniques in this one right here. And then we'll work on it together. I'm thinking about doing a workshop with this stack pumpkins, because you'll be shocked how easy the techniques are in here. But how you're going to learn things from every single virtual tutorial workshop, you're gonna pick up things where you're like, oh, I know how she did that. Oh, I know how she built that painting. And I have to tell you, the reason why I did like the hay in here is because like I just finished the hay and straw in here, and so I think hay and straw are the same thing, and so it's the same technique in the next painting. And so, not that I just did that for the first time, but I'm just saying you're going to pick up all different things, you know. And so I'm excited to paint more with you, but let me know if you need anything. You're welcome. Oh, thanks so much, Eve. I appreciate it. Thanks, Robin. And I can't wait to have you in the workshop. We're going to have fun. Thanks so much, Jill. Thanks, Susan. I hope you guys have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. If I can jump in again this weekend, I'll try to do that, okay? So I'll see you soon. Thanks for being on with me. I appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Bye.